Hey everybody, welcome aboard. Captain Mike here. It's been about a week since my last video showing off the buttons, switches, and dials between Flight Deck Solutions and MS2020 with the PMDG aircraft and Device Interface Manager. Today we're going to take a look at the 7-segment displays because they're up and running. Nils spent quite a bit of time working on debugging quite a bit of stuff the past couple of days. So I have the AC/DC panel up here, and you can see the PMDG aircraft, and you can see me down on the right. We're going to start with the DC panel. We're on standby power. We're going to go to battery bus. Nothing's going to change, but you'll see the selected dial will actually move. And we come up to bat. Now you can see 024. It matches that of the PMDG. Auxiliary 28. And we'll come back around and we'll go to the AC side. Alright. Up next we'll take a look at the flight and land altitude, and then we'll move on down to the pedestal and have a look at the radios. So now we'll take a look at the land and flight altitude, and as you can see we can come back to 1,000 just like on the PMDG. Same with the land altitude, and they match, and we can come on up and same thing for the flight altitude. So they're now working. So up next we're going to take a look at the pedestal. Okay, so the final section that we're going to take a look at is the pedestal of the radios for the 7-segment displays. And we're going to start with the captain's comm radio here. And as you can see, I have an old style radio, but yet PMDG has the new radio. But this still works just as it should, as long as the 3D panel is on VHF1. I can dial down or up the frequency. Trying to keep my fingers out of the way here, and they match that of the PMDG. We can transfer it over, play around with these numbers a bit. So as you can see, COM 1 works. We'll come over to COM 2. Here's the transfer buttons working, and you can see we can dial up, dial down, dial up and down, and transfer that back. We have our nav 1 radio, which matches that of the PMDG, so don't have to do any finagling here. And we can switch them back and forth, although the frequency isn't that big of a difference there. Maybe hard to see. So up and down and transfer. Nav 2, same thing. Here, let's transfer. Down, up, down, and up. Okay, then we have our ADF radio here. Transfer back and forth. Up and down, down and up. And of course these work as well. And that leaves us with TCAS. Now you can see the TCAS that's on the 3D panel does not match my TCAS display. I have a keypad and they don't. So a little bit of finagling had to go on here with this. And if we take a look at, let me put this down here first. If you take a look at the 3D panel, you'll see my TCAS is showing off, and there's a set on standby. Now the first movement in my switch is actually a blank. So when I move that up 1, you'll see that moves up to the alternate report to off. I skip over exponder on the 3D panel because my panel, the next up, says TA. So we come up to TA and it matches TA of the 3D panel. We go to TARA, and it matches. Now after that, this particular panel on the 3D panel stops, but I have ABV and BLW, for above and below. And if I go to ABV, that'll take me to transponder. So that gets me everything that I need in here as far as the dial is concerned. Alright, and let's just leave that on TARA. We have left and right, which actually matches their 1 and 2. Right, and I have standby, auto, and on, so you see 2 and 1, it'll switch between there, so that actually still works. I was able to get that to work. Ident, you'll see, it may be hard to see, but when I press the ident button on that pad actually works. And now for the digits. Now the digits, I just work with the keypad, and you see right now it says 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you take a look at my keypad, we have 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, and 6 right below it. I used 1 and 4 to move the first digit up and down. So if I want that 1 to become a 2, I just hit the 1 to go up. If I wanted to go down, I hit the 4. Alright, so that's how it goes up and down. And it matches that of the P3G, the PMDG 738. Same thing with the second digit. Second digit matches 3 and the 6, and then for the last digit I use the 7 to go up and the 0 to come down. And then the clear button, which is the final button that's on here, I use to run the test on a TCAS. So you see that everything actually works and matches up with the 3D panel that the PMDG aircraft has. So I believe that's it for the 7-segment displays. All the buttons and dials and switches and rotaries are all working. Fire panel's all good to go. So I think the next step is cold and dark to push and start and beyond to see where we can go. So I think that's pretty much the bulk of it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed these few videos on getting Device Interface Manager working with Flight Deck Solutions hardware within the 2020 environment of Microsoft using PMDG 738. I'll catch you on my next run, which I believe is going to be out of Boeing Field, which is going to be a cold and dark to push and start at the very least test, and we'll see if we can push it from there. Alright everybody, take care, and I'll catch you on my next run.